Hello, everybody, and welcome to something new. And this something new is the Phoenix's Forge. And as you can see, there's no forge, but we'll get to that later. So this is the series where I'm going to spend a bunch of time out in my garage building stuff. And I would like to primarily focus on blacksmithing, but as I currently don't have anything besides a couple of tools and some steel. We'll walk over here and grab a piece. I don't have much besides steel and tools. So if you can see, I really don't have a way to heat this to make it into anything but a tube with a notch in it. And hitting it right now is not going to do a whole lot. So that leaves the blacksmithing part kind of out of it for the time being. But I want to do other things. So my plan is to do more things along the lines of the small tools. Like, no hammers, but like knives and, well, today I'm going to be making sort of a sword, I guess would be. Maybe a dagger. But so we're going to be focusing on small stuff like that. I made this handle, so we might, put a handle on something one episode, or something like that. I made a metal version of this at one point, so there's that. Throwing dagger. It didn't turn out quite like this, it turned out a little more straight on these sides, but so something like that. And I have no shortage of tools. I have an entire rack of tools, and then this thing right here is a toolbox. This entire thing is a toolbox. Plus I have power tools in the back. I've got a table, or not a table saw, I have a bandsaw, and I have a drill press. I'm going to be getting a lathe. I have access to a lot of tools, so that's going to be where that part comes from. I also have some experience in the area. My dad was a mechanic, so I've got a lot of training and that kind of stuff. Just because I work on my cars and such like that. So I know how to use tools to effectiveness, to be effective. So there's that. And yeah, so let's get started with what we're going to do today. So here's my proof. This is what this episode's going to be. This is going to be, well, the pilot episode, of course. And also it's going to be something a little different. We're going to do a proof of concept. I've always hated how in video games, when you have a really high-grade sword, like a katana, or a medieval sword, or something like that, in, say, I'm trying to think of a game now, I can't think of one. Well, a lot of zombie games, like Dead Rising, there we go, there's one, where you have those swords, and you swing them 3 times. 3, 4, 5 times, and they break. Well, that's just not how it works in the world. So my thought is, we're going to take a piece of aluminum. This is a piece of aluminum. Thicker piece of aluminum. And by thicker, I mean, I don't know, 1/8 inch. And it's already got holes in it. It's got a bunch of holes in it from whatever it was whatever it was used for prior to this, and we're going to make a sword out of it. And make a sword. I mean, I'm going to notch a handle in it, somewhere in there. That's all I'm going to do to it. I'm not going to put a blade or anything fancy like that on there. But we're going to just do a little proof of concept. So, yeah, I'm going to start by notching it there. I'll probably put a little slant over here. Make it look like a sword at least. Because this episode is not going to... It's not going to be a sword. And then we might put a handle on it. I don't know about that. We'll see. But so that's my current proof. That's my current idea. So I'm going to get working on that. And maybe we'll do a little speed up segment here of me drawing it out and cutting it out and such. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going a little mobile hand, if you will. So I've cut it out, as you can see. It's a nice, it's pretty even, I would say. And here's a comparison to my hand. I'm not going to touch it because I can feel heat emanating off of it, but that should be a good handle size. So I'll cut the tip off, and I'll be back with you once I've done that. And yeah, this has got to cool down. It's still hot to the touch. I just spit on it, and that's what happened. So it's kind of warmish, if you will. So I'll wait for that to cool down. I will cut the point in it, and then we'll do some testing with it. So I'll be back with you then. Show you me quenching this thing. Didn't really look like anything. This is the green pool I have in my backyard. Well, it's steaming a little bit. I don't know if you can tell that it's steaming, but it is steaming a little bit. So I'll just resubmerge that. And there we go. So I'll be back with you shortly. So here's the finished product. It's simple and only took me like an hour to make. So we cut this off here. I sanded all the edges, by the way, so that they're holdable now. But so this is our finished product. It's a piece of aluminum. Keep this in mind. And this is a piece of 2x4 that I've held to the ground quite well. It's got like a 100-pound anvil on it. And it's also got a little base so it stays relatively upright. So the plan is, I'm thinking 2x4, the wood probably softer than a skull, but harder than skin. So, you know, or harder, softer than bone, harder than wood. Or harder than, what am I trying to say? Harder than skin, softer than bone. So, if it can withstand, I don't know, more than 5 hits, this lasts longer than 5 hits on this, you get my point, right? So let's just do this, I guess. Other than that hurting my hand a little bit, nothing happened to this sword at all. It notched the wood. Yet again, nothing happened to the sword, not a scratch. Again. Oh, I knocked it over. And not a scratch on the sword. Tip that back up. Pick up my 100-pound anvil, put that back on there. Let's go the other way. Not a scratch. Not a scratch. Okay, let me just switch this back a little bit. And there's the edge of my sword. You can see where I hit, because the wood left some behind, but other than that, nothing is happening. I am splitting. Oops, I missed. I've split this 2x4 3 different times, and not a thing has happened to this sword. I've rounded the edge maybe ever so slightly where I've been hitting. Not a thing happened. You'd lose the dull on your blade, sure. But nothing else. You wouldn't lose the sword. It wouldn't go, oh no. No more sword. It's all broken. And this is a piece of aluminum. So, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll let the outro do the rest. Plus that, I would like to thank you for watching. A like, a comment, and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. If there's ever anything you'd like to see me do, please leave in the comment section down below, and I'll see you again in another video. Bye!